Hey yo, Shalom, all praise to Yahweh Hashem, Yahshua, Hashem, Rakakadash. The bonus to the apostle, all this GreatMillStone, and Shalom to all the brothers out there doing work in sincerity and truth. It's a brother Emma1 from the GMS London camp. Just got an article here on The Guardian. I just wanted to highlight it a bit, because it's kind of funny. It shows the direction, you know, where the wind's blowing, so to speak. So it says Amazon becomes world's second company to be valued at $1 trillion. And it says online retail giant follows Apple as it passes milestone. Jeff Bezos' founded firm had revenues of $178 billion, blah, blah, blah. It says Amazon has become the second company in the world to be valued by Wall Street at $1 trillion, a matter of weeks after Apple reached the milestone first. So, you know, it's like Amazon's been blowing up as well, just like Apple's been blowing up lately. And, you know, I don't know if you keep track of the news, that a few weeks back Apple hit the 1 trillion, and that's never before seen. Obviously the money's been inflated and blah, 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 but it kind of shows the state that the market's in, man. If you've got, you know, certain companies just hitting like never before seen highs, looking like they can't stop, that's you know, that's kind of a madness still. It's funny as well because Amazon, yeah, the articles coming out a few months back about how like the delivery guys, they get some impossible routes to deliver on, and man having to piss and shit in bottles like to even make it. So it's like them guys are getting driven, like man are going through some hardcore bondage there. Like, you know, it's a brother that worked in one of their warehouses, and he said it was the same thing, man. Just man under some legendary bondage. But you know, this guy Jeff Bezos is just making fat cake. It's the same for like Apple as well. Apple, where they're getting a ship built in China, Foxtech. No, was it Fox? I think Foxconn. Foxtech. That's fucking Batman. But Foxconn was what do you call it? They had to bring in suicide nets because man were committing suicide non-stop, man. Because them guys in China, them guys are getting used like fucking dirty slaves, man. So, you know, that's how Esau makes his money out here, man. Basically through the oppression and exploitation of others. And, you know, and you're seeing it again. But, you know, the interesting thing is like basically it's a never before seen high. So let me read on. It says, on Tuesday, a rise in the share price of Amazon, which is listed on the Nasdaq stock exchange in the US, briefly took it above the $1 trillion watermark for the first time. Crossing the 1 trillion threshold marks the latest chapter in an astonishing story of growth for the company, founded by businessman Jeff Bezos in Seattle in 1994. Less than 25 years later, Amazon has garnered a major presence in everything from retails to groceries to video streaming, helping it rack up revenues of $178 billion last year. Bezos has become the world's richest man in the process, with a net worth estimated at more than $167 billion on Tuesday. Funny as hell, man. So, you know, he's not the world's richest man, but you know, he's money-wise he's on a certain level. But you know, there's guys above him, and there's guys that own banks, you know, that print the money. So you know, he ain't too special. But yeah, going through the history and that. Let's see if there's anything. Okay, let me read this bit. It says Amazon is in vying with Apple to reach the landmark $1 trillion figure for months, but lost out when the stock market responded favorably to Apple's financial results last month. Both companies now have a stock market value more than a third the size of the UK economy and larger than the economies of Turkey and Switzerland. So, what was I going to say? So, basically it's like, it's funny that you just got like two companies that are like worth such a huge amount of the market, and that's going to affect internationally because they're both international businesses. You know, motherfuckers in India have iPhones, and you know, man in a goddamn jungle in Africa somewhere have a goddamn iPhone. So that shit's, it's all about global presence. So if, you know, if they were to tank, and it can be quite easy to make them tank as well, then it could start throwing people into freefall. Because part of thing is part of when you know, when shit's on the rise, if people see like, oh, Apple amazing, they see it going up, they jump on a bandwagon. It's like with Bitcoin was the same thing. When the shit started getting like around January, when it like late December, early January, when it started getting meteoric, and people, it was going from like 9,000 to 13,000 in one day. Everyone was jumping on the bandwagon. It's going to be the same thing with these. That's why the value's getting so high. But then if they get one bad return and one person starts selling, you got a lot of them weak hands, man. Them guys are basically, as soon as they, you know, as soon as it starts looking bad, them guys are going to jump ship. And you got a lot of them guys, because a lot of them guys just jumped on it because they thought, oh, it's free money. It's going up, man. What can they do wrong? It's Amazon and Apple. But that's the same thing happened in the year 2000, the dot-com bubble. That's the same thing that happened in what you call it as well, man. 2008 with the housing bubble. So that's the same thing, man. It's a bubble, you know. And it can be crashed at the will of the bankers, man. That's the thing. That's how they set up the whole system. So, you know, it's funny, you got these two companies ballooning and they're huge. But, you know, it could just be one, you know, one shit iPhone. One, you know, or Amazon could, you know, they could get, like, start getting taxed or something, or something could come out about how they're doing some fucked up shit or some criminal bribes, and then that just starts tanking, and that can bring the whole market down, man. You know, and this is what you know, this is part of the plan of the elites, man. That economic crash, man, because that's part of how they're going to push out that RFID chip, that mark of the beast, because that's the big thing they're looking for. They're looking for that mark of the beast, man, basically making the economy crash, so then you have to substitute money with that beast system, man. There was also something else I saw as well in the news, where it was like, let's see if I can get it out, man. So the chain, let's see if I can get up. Yeah. The chain, which is like one of the big cryptos, basically, for like it's like more or less leading into that chip technology. It's about basically measuring, you know, it's like keeping track of people. The fuck? How do I get rid of this thing? Yeah, the chain, which is one of the big cryptos that basically there's basically linking up with what do you call it, with like the mark of the beast. Basically it's a good little prototype, a test run of what they could be doing with that mark of the beast, like market, bringing out the mark. That's been linked up and the thing is, it's in China again, because of course China's that test bed where they throw out concepts, man. There's a lot of things they do in China first and then later on bring over. But let me read it. It says China partners with state-owned Chinese insurance giant. And it says insurer bets on blockchain to reduce friction and overwhelming paper trails. So it says one of China's largest insurance companies is seeking blockchain applications to reduce information asymmetries in the insurance industry. The People's Insurance Company of China, the country's largest issuer of casualty insurance and world's 20th largest insurer, according to Forbes, has partners with a chain to improve efficiency within the industry. So it's like, that's just one area in which it's being applied, insurance, and in China. But it's like, you know, it's state-owned, so it's like government-backed. So them guys are adopting it swift, and that's kind of what they do with China. They make China just jump on technologies quick. But then, hey, that shows that, you know, they could, now it's just being applied to insurance, they could start linking up with other things, because they've already got like RFID tags on everything. If they start linking up with a blockchain, getting everything registered on the blockchain, keeping track of it, and then maybe you have your identity on the blockchain as well, and then they just have everything moving through that technology, then it's more or less going to start looking like that mark of the beast technology, man, the RFID. But yeah, it's a lot, man. But, you know, I'll leave it there, man. Say praise Yahweh Hashem, Shalom.